Developing story, we have another breaking news coming in on the same story. Now, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly announces that Canada has now expelled a senior Indian diplomat on the issue of Nijjar's killing. She has also said that she has already conveyed Canada's perspective on Nijjar's killing to External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. So that's the big development as far as that story that is being played out in the Canada is concerned. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau actually accusing Indian agents of being involved in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing. Let's listen into what exactly did Melanie Joly say about this.
We've been clear, we will not tolerate any form of foreign interference. Since this was brought to our attention, we've been guided by three principles. The first one, we will seek the truth. The second one, we will protect Canadians at all times. And thirdly, we will protect Canada's sovereignty. I've conveyed these principles to my Indian counterparts, and I've also told him that we expect India's full collaboration to make sure that we get to the bottom of this. And as of today, and as a consequence, we've expelled a top Indian diplomat from Canada.
Hi, I have CNN News 18's Abhishek Jha back with me on the broadcast. Abhishek, what do we know about the Indian diplomat that Melanie Joly was actually speaking about and him being expelled over the allegations of being involved in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing?
So the Indian diplomat, the senior diplomat, has been a 1997 batch IPS officer, Pawan Kumar Rai, who was stationed there as a head of Indian community and economic division, I believe. And this is the biggest, diplomatic setback that the India-Canada bilateral relationship has been in the, ever since probably establishment of the two. And we have seen there has been ups and downs the two sides, especially on the issue of Khalistani, because Khalistan terrorists or Khalistan sympathizers have made Canada a very safe base in the last few decades. But even though there has been, in the past also there was an attempted killing by the Khalistani goons of an Indian foreign service officer in Canada. But these things have been passed, and there have been a lot of, diplomatic positivity that has been there between the two sides. But this is the latest escalation that has come from the Canadian side, that alleging Indian government directly of carrying out an extrajudicial killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil is something unprecedented, and that is bound to bring down the already the downsliding relationship of India and Canada.
Definitely. Abhishek, I'll request you to please hold on because I am being joined in by foreign affairs expert Robinder Sachdev early this morning. Robinder, a very good morning to you. This direct and big allegation coming in from Canada's side against Indian government, don't you think it is going to affect India and Canada's bilateral relationship in any manner?
Oh, certainly, yes. Good morning. No, it certainly will. But on the other hand, I would say that this is not something unexpected. Canada has been talking for the past few months that, or alleging that India is meddling in its internal affairs. Canada has made that statement, though as a low-key statement, excuse me, even though as a low-key statement for the past few months that India is quote-unquote meddling in its internal affairs. And when Justin Trudeau was here, and when there was talk that Prime Minister Modi met Trudeau, and Prime Minister Modi conveyed to Trudeau that, Canada must shape up with regards to Khalistani extremism, even then there was a mention by the Canadian side, though not carried much in the media, I think perhaps, that Trudeau mentioned to Prime Minister Modi that India is meddling in its internal affairs. So, so that's the background it's been building up. So it will definitely now, that's what Canada is alleging. Of course, India will not agree to it, and we don't think that we are doing anything like that. But this will certainly impact the bilateral relations. It's a downward spiral over the last 2 months, if you see. Before Trudeau came to India, about a month ago, they said that they're pausing the early trade agreement. Remember, before Trudeau came about a month ago? Then, when Trudeau came here, Prime Minister Modi meeting with him, conveying him the message, and Trudeau did not get the not the bilateral, because there were no bilaterals this time, but the one-on-one in a certain format. He did have a meeting with Modi, but that was seen as a snub to Trudeau. And then when he went back, before, or rather when he was here in India, there was a talk that, okay, the trade agreement or the discussions on the trade agreement would be held off until the Khalistan issue was resolved, let's say. Right? That was happening when Trudeau was here. That was a statement by our authorities. And when Trudeau reached back Canada, I think yesterday or the day before, they announced that the trade minister is cancelling the delegation visit to Bombay in the first week of October. So, one by one, it's a downward spiral. So it certainly absolutely will affect India-Canada relations.
Well, definitely, Robinder. And don't you think it is quite ironic that they are saying that they are not going to accept any sort of interference from foreign authorities in their internal matters, but at the same time, Justin Trudeau never shied away while talking about be it our farmers' protest here in our country?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It is right, but what Canada is saying something about the farmers movement in India is one thing, right? So India could say something about Quebec and all. But what Canada is alleging is that Indian intelligence operatives are meddling inside Canada, right? So that's in a way a very different thing, I would say. But I don't think there's any truth to what they're saying, but that's what they're alleging.
Yeah. Definitely. Robinder, I'll just request you to please stay with us because I have to go back to our correspondent Abhishek Jha, who continues to be with me on the broadcast as well. Abhishek, I want to understand from you that what exactly are they responding to? Why there was no noise created when such K attacks were happening there in the Canada, but now they are making noise about the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar and, directly pointing it out on Indian government and their agents and saying that they were directly involved in his killing?
So there has been at least 3 deaths of senior Khalistani leaders in back-to-back during, in the gap of few weeks' time around the month of June. And Hardeep Singh Nijjar was probably the last one who died in
Well, I think we lost connection with Abhishek over there. I have former diplomat Ashok Sajjanhar joining me early this morning on the broadcast as well. Ashok, thank you so much for talking to CNN News 18. I just want to understand from you, as I was just talking to my correspondent Abhishek Jha as well, don't you think it's quite ironic of making such noise at an international platform and saying that and directly pointing it out at Indian government, saying that they were directly involved in killing of this resident that we are talking about, but making absolutely no noise when India was time and again pointing out the K attacks that were happening in their own soil?
Yeah, I think what, in terms of, let us say, some sort of equivalence that you draw, maybe that is there. But I think this is truly preposterous, what has been mentioned. I think as far as Indian intelligence agencies are concerned, our track record is blemishless. And for, Justin Trudeau to make these allegations and make these charges, irrespective of, this whole Khalistani things. I cannot think that, because the Khalistan protests and demonstrations and the violence that is being perpetrated, as a result of that, India would do something. Not at all. But, that stands on its own footing that Canada needs to take action against the Khalistanis. And that is something that it should be doing, not only because it is against a friendly country, that is India, but also because it's going to harm itself. And, going forward, we have seen in so many other cases, if you are trying to give sustenance to such Frankensteins, they are going to develop and they are going to grow and harm you yourself. We've seen it in Pakistan. So it seems to be following the same Pakistan line. But coming back to this charge, I think it is absolutely ridiculous, and there is no evidence, I'm sure, and making such totally baseless charges, it doesn't behove the government of a democratic country, of a so-called friendly country to make such charges. If there was anything, it should have taken it up with the Indian authorities, and we have no information that it's been taken up. So I think this needs to be rejected completely by India, and the failure of Canada cannot be put at the doorstep of India.
Well, definitely. Ashokji, since you are a former diplomat yourself, I want to understand from you how exactly should India respond to Canada actually expelling a senior Indian diplomat now? What should be India's response to this?
I will need to see who is it that has been expelled, as they say, and that this action has been taken. So I think it has to be a well-considered reaction, maybe not a knee-jerk reaction. Tit for tat, of course, expelling one of the senior diplomats from Canada. But, this is doesn't look good as far as two democracies are concerned, two friendly countries are concerned. So I think an appropriate response definitely has to be given. And so let the full details be out as to what exactly has been done. And on the basis of that, I think we can frame out an appropriate response, and so that the message goes out not only to Canada but to the others also, who that they cannot play around with Indian diplomatic presence, representation, and India's image and prestige in the world.
Well, definitely. Ashokji and Robinderji, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18 and putting your perspective across. I would like to thank our correspondent Abhishek Jha for joining me on the broadcast and giving us all those crucial details as well. Right now, it's time to slip into